Philip, and welcome to today's Connect Exchange. Today we have our partner Map Anything, and they're going to be talking about how their tool can be used for volunteer recruitment, something that's very important for all of our customers. On the call from Map Anything, we have Taylor Hewitt, who I had the good pleasure of meeting a few months ago in person, and her solution engineer, Milan Lee. He is an amazing individual, and we've had a lot of fun preparing for today's presentation, having to learn a lot more about both HandsOn Connect and Map Anything and how they can work together. So at this time, we feel that the best way to show you the benefit is to actually give you a live demo of Map Anything. And so I am going to turn over the presentation to Milan. Let him take it from there.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the webinar today. As Art mentioned, my name is Taylor Hewitt. I've been in a partnership with Art for about 10 months now. It's been going great so far. They've been awesome to work with, and we're really excited to kind of showcase how we've been working together through HandsOn Connect and Map Anything. So if you guys have any questions, Art, I don't know if there's a chat box in the webinar. If you just want to, if you want to get with Art afterwards, more than happy to cater any questions throughout the call or afterwards if necessary. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and let Milan take over, do the live demonstration for us so you guys can have a good high-level overview of what Map Anything has to offer inside your Salesforce HandsOn Connect org.
Perfect. Thanks, Taylor, and thanks, Art. My name is Milan Lee, and I'm one of the solution engineers here at Map Anything. So for today, we're going to jump in, and I am going to show you a demo of how the tool works, especially when it comes down to volunteer recruitment. So here, we are focusing on the Tampa area. So just to give you a little bit of background on Map Anything, we are a tool that's native to Salesforce. And using the Google API, we are able to show you the where behind your data. So here, if you can see my screen, we have a tab called Layers. What Layers is doing is pulling in all information from your Salesforce org, things such as accounts, contacts, leads, opportunities, as well as any other custom object that has an address. So we are going to be as powerful as the data we are referencing. So here I'm going to jump inside of my personal environment. And my personal environment are going to be specific layers, or essentially just Salesforce reports that I have created and I have access to. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is go ahead and show you the next week's occurrences. So events that are happening next week, that is going to be color-coded by the total amount of volunteers we have confirmed. So here you can see we have them in different buckets. So the great thing about Map Anything is that we are able to reference any field that is going to be from that object. We can leverage that and then give you the ability to color code off of that. That way you can toggle on or off and only see the values that are important to the organization there. So it looks like we have one occurrence that has a low total confirm rate. So what I'm going to do next is click on that and just get a nice little snapshot. So here inside this window, we can pull in any field from that occurrence. So we can see the start date and time. We can also see the volunteers we still need for this event. We can also see the opportunity connected to it, as well as the total confirmed. So since this is going to be one of the events that has that low total confirm rate, what I'm going to do next is click on Actions. And here you can see we still have the standard Salesforce actions such as log a call, the send email, and new task as well, or new event. But what I want to do now is add a proximity. This proximity you see here when I click on Show Options, you can adjust this radius to fit with whatever model category you want it to fall within. But we also have the opportunity to leverage travel time. So now we want to see how close are individuals or contacts going to be in a travel time that is relative to this event. So I'm going to change this to focus not from a radius standpoint, but more of a minutes. So let's look at a nice 15-minute window here. And as you can see, Map Anything is going to calculate that drive time, and it is going to look a little bit different from a regular circular radius here. So So the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to say for this radius, I only want to see markers that fall within this shape. So now if I was to run contacts or if I was to run any other object to get some data to populate, if it falls outside of this radius, I want it to be minimized off the map. The next step I'm going to do is go ahead and clean up the map a little bit. So let's take off all these occurrences and just leave that one red occurrence to where we want to increase that total confirm rate. So now that we have this inside of that 15-minute drive time, if I was to navigate back to my saved folder to where I have all of my previously saved layers, now I can go ahead and run a contact query. So for this one, it is going to show contacts that are going to be color-coded by the hours served. So maybe for this one event, since we do have that low total confirmed rate, maybe I only want to see individuals who has a higher hour served rate. So here we can see we have right around 6 contacts who have currently served 41 or more hours. And another great thing about Map Anything working with different objects is as we leave this on the map, we can also click on this and see a snapshot about that as well. And if we did want to go ahead and update any fields, so if we wanted to clean up our data or anything about this contact, as long as any Salesforce user has the permission to do so, they can also come in here and do some very good data entry to clean up that record. And since we are native to Salesforce, it will reflect live on that contact.
So a great way to look at Map Anything is this is just essentially another user interface for your Salesforce data. It gives you the ability to be able to, like Milan has been doing, layer different objects next to each other to really get a good, clear vision of who is around that volunteer opportunity and who we can really target in on maybe some direct marketing. So, you know, again, just having a better view versus the traditional Salesforce reporting where you don't have that exact idea where they're located or how far away they are from the actual event. True visibility in everything that's going on with your Salesforce.
That's a very good point there, Taylor. And one other thing as well that we can do here is we can also send some actions to this one on a one-to-one. So if we have this Clark Kent contact, which has an awesome name, by the way, and we wanted to shoot an email to him, we can also do that straight from the map. And if you are integrated with Chatter and you are using that, you can also use this Chatter interface to do some actions, such as do a new task or even come in here and log a call straight from this window without having to physically navigate back to this contact tab. So let's say that we want to go from the one-to-one level, and now we want to do some mass actions. We want to interact with all 6 of these contacts at once. There's a couple of things that we can go ahead and get some analysis on. So one of the things we can do is we can click on this, one event or this occurrence we have, and if I click on actions, I can set this as a reference point. So what that is going to do is hard code that actual address for that event. And now if I do a simple left click inside of this little 15-minute drive window, we can see aggregates such as what are the sum and or average of hours served. But more importantly, we can now get a list view to where we can pull up all 6 of these contacts, and we can also reference that address and see how close are they going to be from a drive time and distance. So that way we can start to filter this list out just like you do in current Salesforce views. So after we get that analysis done, and let's say we want to take all of these contacts now and we want to go ahead and add them to a marketing campaign, maybe send out an email blast, or just get some activity on them all at once. We do have the ability to reference this and also take some mass actions, such as adding them to a campaign. So here you can see that once we do this action, it is going to show you all of the available campaigns that are currently in Salesforce. And you do have the ability to click on any one of these campaign buckets and go ahead and drop all of these contacts into that campaign. That way you can go ahead and get that email blast out.
So again, going back to just more targeted marketing, more targeted advertising, trying to get the right people to this event, or the better targeting of who could actually attend the event or might be interested in it.
Very good point. And just to kind of jump back a little bit, just because we've been doing everything off of this one pin, another thing that you can do as well is instead of looking at a physical pin, and let's say we just wanted to take this off, you can still leverage other objects or other pieces of information. So here, if you notice, we are looking at the Google Map API. So Google Maps is our mapping provider of choice, but it also does give us the ability to leverage the Google search feature. So let's say hypothetically you just have a zip code, so we can plug in 33602, which is going to be a Tampa, Florida zip code. We can also bring that point in, we can click on that point, and we can go ahead and set a proximity around a physical, whether it's a street address, physical street address, physical zip code, whether it's a city, town, whatever the case. But you can still come in here, reference that actual zip code, and going ahead and building out proximity centers. So if you wanted to see a 15-minute or 15-mile radius around that zip code, you can absolutely do that as well. So not only can you work off of physical records and take actions, but you can still look at other pieces of an address from a marketing perspective if you want to grow that out, if you want to grow that outreach and start to target it from a zip code level as well. And one last thing to jump into here, just to kind of give you more ways you can visualize your data, is that so far we've been looking at contacts based on hours served, and we've been looking at occurrences based on the ones that are due for next week, as you can see here, and we were color coding those by total confirmed. You are able to look at different objects, just like I mentioned. You are able to color code off of any fields. So here you can see that we're looking at available volunteer opportunity by impact area. So think of this as being a total report, but the real power behind this is that Salesforce, current reports are going to give you everything in that list view, that list aspect. What we're doing is still providing you that list feel, still providing you that, that list look, but also giving you the ability to toggle on or off specific pieces of data that falls within that bucket. So that way you can go ahead, target it out, still see a specific account or opportunity, and just see data that is relevant on the map. That way the users can take action on it.
So I will say, in my role here today, I have a team that works under me. There are about 5 people. We live and breathe inside of this map because it truly gives us insight as to where they're located, maybe the last time that we've made contact with them, maybe how much interest they've shown on our website. So the same, as I'm in a sales organization, same concepts apply to when you're doing your recruiting efforts. It's all about raising awareness of what's going of your cause or the event that's happening. So, being able to have this different user interface and take action directly from it, again, with every action you're taking directly reflecting inside your Salesforce, it's truly made an impact on the way that we do business and the efficiency we've seen behind it. So being able to easily make our calls, log them straight from the map, and make a bigger impact, it's truly made a big difference on my team just as we've built out our reports and our internal workflow. So same concept applies with you guys as you're heading up your recruitment efforts and continuing making your team more efficient while they're out there.
Absolutely. And the last thing to touch on here is that we've been looking at all this data from a pin aspect, but you still have the ability to kind of look at it from whether it's going to be a heat map, clusters, whatever the case, and just see where are the majority of your hotspots are going to be, or where's the market penetration, or maybe even find specific areas that you may need to focus more on. So maybe we need to have more outreach in all of the areas that's considered blue, just because we can easily see that we have a ton of hotspots that are going to have over 12 or 20 accounts, but right around this 144, this is our bread and butter. So this is where the majority of our account base is. So maybe we need to put more emphasis on our eastern portion of our market. So maybe we need to put more outreach over here in comparison to the north side. So you are able to look at this data from different views other than just looking at it from a pin aspect.
And as we were looking at the different options too, that heat map option is is something that you're able to look at as well. The penetrated areas, again, the cluster mode showed it, but if you're more used to the aspect of the heat maps, that is also an available option too.
Good point.
Again, looking at North Tampa, looks like it's a very highly penetrated area just based on the dots. And again, all of this can be fixed to your preference. So if you want more colors showing, you want bigger areas, it's all configurable to what is a preference for you. Cool. But that being
Great.
said, that is kind of an overview of Map Anything. Really touched on a bunch of the layer build-outs, different ways that you can visualize your data, as well as pulling in the Google points of interest. Last time that this is the second time we've made an appearance on the Connect Exchange. Last time we covered over our live asset tracking features, and we covered some of the routing portions of that. So if routing is something that is important to your organization, more than happy to answer questions on that side as well, maybe off this call. And again, if there's anything that you guys had questions on based off of what you saw today, more than happy to get with Art offline and cover those areas as well.
Great. Well, Milan and Taylor, thank you all so much for your presentation today. I know that as someone who's worked at volunteer centers as with nonprofits, being able to see that information visually is instrumental to help me target my recruitment and efforts, whether it's for an upcoming gala or for a day of service, or even just our monthly volunteer projects that are happening, and really being able to target those high-performing volunteers and making them aware of those projects. So thank you for taking the time to share with us how Map Anything can help our customers with their recruitment efforts.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us.
Well, we thank you all for joining us today for another Connect Exchange. We hope that you'll join us this Thursday for our next installment of Connect University, where we'll be talking about advanced registration. We'll be back here again next week with another one of our partners, Click and Pledge, focusing on event management. And then next Thursday, we'll be talking about formulas for occurrence objects and how you can use those to become even more powerful with your data. Thanks again for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the day.